Hi everyone. When people call us about websites, they often have questions about websites in general and questions about websites that we do. So if you're not even sure what to ask, let me go ahead and just throw this stuff out there. Maybe it'll help you sort of form questions that you can ask later. So one common question, doesn't Google prefer WordPress, Wix, etc.? Now, here's a list of all the different choices you have. And the WordPress is one of them, Drupal, Joomla, Magento, and it goes on and on and on. Now, most of these CMSs have different functions. Some are better for shopping carts. Some are better for just general data crunching. Some are better for being really easy to use. Some are better for having technical proficiency. Some are better for page speed. Whatever. Some allow you to use the system on your own server. Some allow you to download their stuff. You know, everyone's different. They are all different. And when you do searches on Google, any one of those pages that have the best discussion in verbiage, right, tends to show up. And especially if the page has images and or video or infographics that complement the content, right, the verbiage that's on the page. Then, of course, you have things like on-page SEO factors and so on. But what I mean to say is it doesn't really matter the CMS you find best, as long as some things are true, okay? You can get rid of all coding errors. Now, it's not necessary, but boy, does it help. Because by getting rid of coding errors, Google can understand your page better. Granted, there are some coding errors that Google can just read between the lines and understand anyway. There are a lot. But coding errors make your site more hackable. That's one thing. And coding errors also make it harder for Google to read your pages in general. It has to guess what your page means because it's not really sure. That's what coding errors kind of do. So anyway, WordPress is famous for getting hacked over and over again, right? So you have to already be skilled at websites to want to use WordPress. Usually the receptionist who's not well-versed at websites is going to want to deal with the WordPress admin panel because it's really hard to find your way around in there. And then if you use Wix, I never see any Wix pages when I do searches on Google. Do you? I mean, I know they're trying to angle their commercials to make it sound like they rank now. I think because everyone's biggest complaint about them is they don't rank. You can't really rank when you make a website that simple, right? If it doesn't have any verbiage on it, it's not going to rank, okay? Just something to keep in mind. Google ranks pages more because they have words on them than anything else. However, Business Review, I think, did a study and found that the pages that rank the most often for any kind of general topic are the ones that have like 3,000 words on the page, okay? Then come the 2,000 word pages, then the 1,000 words, then the rest, okay? Is that always true? Certainly not. But the point of the matter is, for Google, content matters a lot for rank. Okay, having said that, what if Google doesn't like the pages you're making mean? They won't let the pages rank, right? Okay, back up. There's a difference between Google indexing web pages. That means Google said yes and let the page be seen in the system. And ranking the web pages. Any page that Google indexes has the right to rank. When you do some work to make that web page rank, there you go. Now Google's going to let it rank. But Google doesn't have a problem with the pages if it indexes them. Does that also mean it has to index all your pages to like your site? No. Let me give you a simple example right now. Here's a site called Roto-Rooter. I'm just going to blow in and out of this example, move on, okay? I really don't want this topic to take too long, but I want to just at least make sure you get it. Here's their site. Now, they're a nationwide franchise, so they've got franchisees all over the nation. So, yeah, they have a lot of pages because they're covering all of their franchisees. You do a search on Google for all of their websites. Let me get rid of that straight out. They've got 10,000 odd web pages that are live right now. They fluctuate between 10,000 and 11,000 physical web pages that show up. You know how many web pages they probably created? 15,000. And they're trying to get Google to move up from 10,000 to 11,000. Sometimes it does, sometimes it drops, sometimes it rises, sometimes it drops. That's fine. But they're in this massive range. Google likes their website to that degree. 10,000 to 11,000 pages worth out of their 15,000 pages. How would they get more of their pages to get indexed? This is indexing, by the way. it doesn't mean that all of these pages are ranking number one for anything. It could be that none of the pages are ranking number one, but many of them happen to be ranking number one or number two or number three or number four or number five. Many of these pages are on the front page of searches related to the page. Like if you do a search for Dearborn Heights, Michigan plumber, they're probably on the front page. If you do a search for Irvine, California plumber, they are probably on the front page. If you do a search for Roto-Rooter plumbing and water cleanup, or even just Roto-Rooter plumbing, they're probably on the front page because it's their name anyway. But that's what I mean, is all these different terms, they tend to be on the front page. Best websites in the world have lots of pages. You can make a website with 15,000 pages or 10,000 pages using our package in 15 minutes. A 10,000 page website in 15 minutes. Really not that hard once you know what you're doing. Then you can make a bunch of them to promote whatever you want to sell. Okay? Having said that, let me get back to the topics. Okay? So if Google indexes the web page, it has the right to rank. That's the thing that matters. If Google doesn't index the web page after a while, that would mean I owe you new pages. Or I should go in there and see why they're not indexing, make some adjustments, resubmit the sitemap, get Google to index them. By the way, if you do something wrong and Google doesn't like it, they don't punish you forever. Go change your pages. Fix them. See what went wrong and fix them, resubmit the sitemap. Google will reevaluate and usually say okay that second time around. It'll happen pretty quick. So what's the difference between indexing and ranking? Google says yes to the pages. They show up in the system. To the degree that they deserve to show up higher and higher and higher, they rank higher and higher and higher. There you go. Doesn't Google always show the front page of a website for a search? Heck no. Here's a perfect example. Rotorooter.com. If you do a search for this, you're probably going to see that page. If you do a search for that, you'll probably see that page. Probably. Could be that there's another page in Carnegie, Pennsylvania that also talks about a plumber from their site, and that might be the page that shows up. If I were to look for Carnegie, right, I think I spelled that correctly, there are three possible pages that could show up, maybe. That one says plumber on it. That one says plumber. And maybe that one does too, maybe not. So maybe just two of these pages could show up, but there you go, okay? So there's a choice, all right? There can be a choice. For instance, bigger city like Chicago, what do we see there? 38 results. Plumber in Chicago. North Chicago, Illinois, plumber, right? So any one of these pages could show up on that page, on the front page. But not the front page of the website, just the best page for the search. The more pages you have on your website, the more searches you can show up for, the more traffic you get. That's all, okay? Everybody wants to make me a website, but they charge different prices. What matters? Things that are incredibly important that you don't want to miss out on, and most people will not tell you. Make sure that whatever you buy, okay, they fix all coding errors. Yes, that will raise the price. Because anytime somebody codes a website for you, they're going to create errors. It's natural. There's no way out of it. They're going to make this module, make that module, make that module, and then just jam them together for what you want. That's going to create errors. They're going to be able to show you the page with errors, and the page will look perfect. Okay? If they were to clean all the errors up, the page will look the exact same. Okay? It will act the exact same. It will load just as fast to your naked eye. Everything will seem the same, whether it has no coding errors or many coding errors. So you know what? They hope you don't know anything about coding errors. Matter of fact, 99.5% of websites on the internet have coding errors. And guess what that means for you? Huge opportunity to outdo them by making sure your website does not have coding errors. That way Google understands your web pages better, and you get to naturally rank higher because Google understands your web pages clearly. It can read the code. Okay? What else comes in? If you're paying for copywriters, the more you pay them, the more they can think about your marketing message and write it out. The less you pay them, the faster they have to write, the less they can think about the marketing message, the faster they just hammer out whatever it takes to get the job done and collect their pay. Okay? Don't new designs cost more than old designs? Like if you hire a guy and you say, I want a design that looks new versus old. No, usually when you pay website designers, you're actually paying for man hours. If you pay copywriters, you're paying for man hours. If you're paying for website developers, you're paying for man hours. Okay? So you're paying these guys to sit there by the hour and build whatever it is you want them to have, or whatever it is you want. Whether it's a new design or an old design, it could cost the exact same time because you're paying for man hours, right? Now, certain features and benefits are worth a surcharge on top of that. But that's a different thing, right? When you get a big website project and somebody has to work like 20 hours to build it, and you're paying by the hour, usually it doesn't matter whether it's a new design or an old one. They're going to build that what you want. And they can show you some samples to help kick you off. And whatever you say yes to, well, there you go. You're paying for man hours. Okay? Which is better, artistic websites or functional websites? It's always interesting. Sometimes you see the big brands out there and they'll have something like a full page banner, a single looping video that takes up the entire screen. And then it'll have some button that says something like Macy's, enter the store, and you'll click it, right, to go into the store. Or it'll be like American Apparel or PayPal or whatever, right? And you'll think, well, wow, if they're doing it, I guess I should do it too. And the answer is no. They are very well branded. They can be all trendy and funky and artistic that way. But if you're making a website and you're trying to say we do A, B, C, and D, you want to make sure that those bits of information are visible right away above the fold when someone lands on your website. Less room for being artistic, but people, when they came to your website, they weren't looking for art. Okay, they were looking for what they were looking for. So the website should be nice on the eyes, clean design, but it should be functional for most purposes. Unless you have a reason to be artistic, you are an art dealer, you're a photographer, okay? Or you make paintings, right? Then you want an artistic florid design maybe. Or you're trying to show off all your photoshopping skills, right? Different. All right, here's a common one. Can't I set and forget my website? I want to buy it, have it rank, and just stay on top. And the answer is that never works. Couple of reasons why. One, your competition will not lie down and die. If you outrank, for every guy you outrank on the front page, every time you beat another guy, assume they're losing some income. Now that guy's losing income too. That guy's losing income too. Every one of those guys wants to fight back. They're going to go and create more backlinks. Go and create a new topic on their website. Go and do more, okay, to regain Google's attention and try to get them back up over you again, okay? So this is the endlessness of competing for short tail keywords, by the way. Always the results go like that because always the guys are hammering out results, new articles, new content, new backlinks, new press releases, new ways to regain Google's attention. There's a way to fight that war without fighting that war. We do that extremely well, okay? But do not think that you can just set and forget a website, okay? If I came and saw SEO techniques you can use, and I read the article and think, that's strange. This is number one for SEO techniques you can use, but this is all old hat. And I scroll to the bottom and it says copyright 2014. That's 5 years ago. That means Google wasn't doing their job, right? How could that page stay up? Well, that's just it. Google doesn't know if you're still in business if you don't change the website for a while. Google doesn't know if you're still relevant if you don't change the website for a while. Google doesn't know if you still really care about your business, right? All Google knows is if you leave your website alone for a long time, they are starting to suspect that you may have abandoned it. If they don't see any new backlinks pointing in at it or any new content appear inside the website, they're starting to wonder if you're even still there if somebody calls you. It would make Google look bad if you saw a result, you called, and the phone number's been disconnected long ago. Okay? Or you go to email somebody and the email bounces back because they're not there. Somebody may have paid for the website for 10 years in advance and then walked away after 2 years. So that website might sit there for another 8 years, unattended. Google can't let that rank anymore. Okay? So set and forget, never. Websites must have changes made to them. We're also great at that. We can set automated changes that improve websites every so often, like every other week, so that Google sees somebody is still there and is interested in that point. Okay, So we covered, if not, why not? All right, say I have a crappy website. This is one we get. Where should I put my money for the best result? Should I start marketing my crappy website right away so I can hopefully get paid tomorrow? Or should I spend my money on getting a new quality website made, and then I got to wait to get extra money later to start marketing it? Okay, for some of you, this is obvious. For others of you, it's not. It's wishful thinking, and here's my point on that. When you market a crappy website, expect a very low conversion rate. You know, you may pay for 10,000 views on your website, but if your website sucks, that's 10,000 people are going to see that your website sucks, right? So they are probably not going to buy anything. You just spent a lot of money getting 10,000 eyeballs on a website you hope will make sales. It's not a good way to go. But if you spend the money laying a better foundation and you set that website up, make it clean on the eyes, make sure it's got a point, make sure it's got a focus, make sure it's aiming people in the right direction, okay? You won't be able to get sales today, but you weren't going to get sales today. That's just it. You really weren't. Everyone's going to have the same impact. Everyone's going to see the same thing. Don't blow your money on an extremely low conversion rate that probably won't even compare. You might spend $500 in marketing and get $50 back in sales. That wasn't worth it. But if you spend the $500 improving the website and then wait and build up another $500 and go marketing, now you might get 1,000 in sales, right? That's the point. Way worth it. Way worth it to go that way. All right. Can my website rank for main keywords without backlinks? Usually not. Google doesn't even really know if you're interested in promoting your business. So the main keywords that get a lot of volume, heck, can you even handle the volume? If you're not even promoting yourself and growing a higher volume website, what would happen if you suddenly got 100,000 visitors a month? Could you even possibly handle the business? Google has no clue. Does it want to just start handing 100,000 visitors a month to anyone and everyone who wants it? No way. That'll make Google look bad, because then all those guys will shut down. Phone numbers will get disconnected. You might think, well, wouldn't it be great to have a flood of traffic? The answer is it'll overwhelm you. You know, you won't be able to deliver. People will complain. You'll get a whole lot of bad reviews. Next thing you know, you have to close your doors in shame. And that's because you couldn't handle the business. So believe it or not, that's a really big issue, okay, for Google. So ranking for main keywords with no backlinks, rare, okay? But should I fight to rank for the main keywords or go for lots of longer tail keywords? Go for the longer tail keywords. Why? When you go for the main keywords, you know the saying 97% of the people who come to your website don't buy anything, they just leave. Maybe 3% buy, okay? If you go for the longer tail keywords, people go, but then I'm only getting like 3% of the traffic. Yeah, but almost 100% of them buy. It's the longer tail keywords that no one else has a page for, but you do. And the longer tail is what the person really wanted. They spent their time to explain what they wanted, and you have the perfect page for them. You know what? Really high chance of a conversion, okay? That's the difference. Now, what do you think happens? The guy shows up for the short tail keywords. 97% of the people who come to the website stick around a handful of seconds and leave. High bounce rate. Google goes, maybe this page isn't very good for the main keyword. What about you? You get these long tail keywords and you have 3% of the traffic that comes, but of the traffic who comes, virtually 100% stick around. Okay, it took them a while to type the longer tail, and they saw the match and they clicked. By the time they go that far and they're reading on your page what they typed, and it's about that, that's what they were looking for. They're in heaven. They're not leaving. The chances are they're not going to find another one like you. So they're reading. What does Google see? Wow, long time on page, clicking through to other pages on the site, interested now, because they already know that this is related to what I want. So you know what? Maybe this website should rank higher for better keywords and more shorter tail keywords. So that's an extremely good way to earn short tail keywords, because Google prizes that. Time on site means, hey, this website's suited to that topic, that, And when you have a lot of related longer tail keywords about a topic, Google starts to try you out on the shorter tail for the topic. Some great strategies for that. Say you're a carpet cleaner and you focus on eco-friendly carpet cleaning. You focus on pet-friendly, kid-friendly, non-toxic materials, safe chemicals, right? And you really go out of your way. You might say, yeah, but in my town, Los Angeles, say they're searching for carpet cleaning as the short tail. Right. But if you go after those longer tails first, eco-friendly, green carpet cleaning, kid-friendly, pet-friendly carpet cleaning, safe chemicals, non-toxic chemicals, and you start showing up for those, what happens? After a while, Google's so impressed with the time on page everyone's putting into your site that they're going to try you out on the short tail. How's that for awesome? That's cool. So you earn it and you tend to stick. And that's cool because now you still the average from all the visitors is higher than the competition. Competition just went for the main, so they got this average high bounce rate. But you have the main plus all of these longer tails that have real great time on site. So even though you have a normal bounce rate here, you have this backer of great time on site throughout all the rest of those keywords. Big deal. Okay. What is the end result if I focus on going after long tail keywords? You get traffic and sales from them, plus you start to show up for the shorter tails. Okay. Does Google see my website as a copy of someone else's? Great question. There are three things that make a website anything. There's the framework of the website. That means a certain number of rows times a certain number of columns, right? You guys know what I mean. There are only so many combinations that you can put on a screen before it just starts to make no sense at all, right? You have to have like a row. You have to have a column. You might go one column. You might go two columns. You might even try three columns. How many of you want to go 4 columns? Probably not, right? 5 columns? No. Now all of the paragraphs of print have to be so tiny, they're going to look ridiculous. So it's usually 1, 2, or 3 columns. Those are the only choices for all of the websites on the internet. Okay? Many of these columns can be merged in places. That creates different effects. Sections look like a big box and then a small section, then a large skinny section over here. But that's just merging parts. Okay? How many combinations of those do you think there are? Not very many, because again, you can only have so many columns, you can only have so many rows, and so you can only box so many combinations. So yeah, I mean, for Google, all websites fit into like 12 different design structures. Billion websites out there, or however many there really are, divided by 12. So basically, there are at least 50 million websites for every different frame you see. Just think of it that way, okay? And within those frames, what makes those websites unique? Different colors, different fonts, different background colors, foreground colors, different fonts, right? Then what? Not much else. Images are different. Oh yeah, different images for different industries. Sure, so the website's different. Even if it's the same frame with the same colors and the same fonts, if one is about this and the other is about something totally different, for Google, those are different websites. They're not trying to compete for the same results. They're not even if you do a plumbing website in Chicago that has the same verbiage as a plumbing website in Denver, they say the same things, but one of them's focused on Chicago, one's focused on Denver. Often Google can let that go. Now, granted, the more variability you do create between those two websites, the greater the total number of pages that are going to get indexed on both of them and can rank. But Google doesn't see them as competing because trying to show up for Chicago plumber keywords is a totally different market who's searching than Denver plumber keywords or Denver roofer keywords versus Denver plumber keywords. Say you had the same design website, but one has images for a plumber with wording for a plumber. The other copy has images for a roofer with wording for a roofer. Google doesn't have any problem with that. It's okay if they're both the same because they're targeting different markets. Remember, people will never see the sameness of two websites unless they click the subject line, right? Are any of these two websites the same? Do they have the same boxes, the same rows, the same columns, the same colors, the same fonts? Would you have any idea? No, you would have to click the website to find out, except this all happens to be Roto-Rooter. But I mean, in a normal result, you couldn't guess, which you would not know that this has the same design as this one way down here on page 2. You would never know, okay? Unless you click the links, right? So you'd have to be interested to even click the links, okay? And even then, even if you find out it's the same website, you're just going to be tickled pink over it. It's cool. You'll chuckle a little. Oh, look at that. Same website. Haha, neat. But then you'll get back to, anyway, I need a roofer. Right? So even Google knows that. So the framework of a website is based on the patent. Whether anyone holds a patent on that framework. The answer is, I don't think there's a single patent on a single website framework. It would be a waste of money and probably unenforceable. Okay? Because again, there are only so many combinations. I don't think anyone has a right to patent any of them. Okay, what else? Colors and fonts. There's no patent for that. You can copy green to green to green to green for thousands of websites. Blues and blues and blues for thousands of websites. That's not going to matter at all. Matter of fact, most color combinations are resonant. So a blue and a lighter blue, you know how many websites are going to have that combination? Very many if they're resonant, right? Frequencies. Okay. And what else? Images. Google really doesn't care if images come off some other site. Because why? Because you would only want your own unique images for an images search, right? Most images are shucked around and websites are using copies of them all the time. You take an image you think is used on one website, do an image search, it's on 812 websites. And you're like, dang, I didn't know that. How often do you see the same models appear in so many images anyway? I mean, this stuff is more common than you think. You might think, what about copywritten images? Yeah, sure, there are some, but there are not that many, okay? I mean, there are guys that produce copywritten images, but if somebody goes to Shutterstock and buys an image for their website and puts it on their website, and then you go copy that image and put it on your website, then Shutterstock has nothing against you. They can't, right? The guy bought the image, and you didn't get it from Shutterstock. You borrowed it from that guy's site. Now, if you accidentally do get a copywritten image or something like that, then what's that mean? That just means the guy says, hey, cease and desist. And you're like, oh, no problem. Sorry about that. Didn't know. And what do? Trade it with some other equal value image. Okay? Never seen anyone have a problem or get sued over a copyright infringement on using an image. The only way you can have that problem is if you basically tell the guy to go to heck, to take you to court. And then he's going to have to. And usually it's not going to be worth his time or money to even bother. And so just so you know, most images get borrowed. Most people, when they build a website for you, they don't run out with the camera and ask someone to pose, right? They take other images, strip the personal information off of them, crop them into a new image, new size, and then stick it in. Now, what don't you want to do? And that comes back to things like, what? Trademark, patent. Yeah, trademark. That's this. If the image says somebody else's brand name and you're sticking it on your website and they actually have patented that brand name, or trademarked rather, that brand name, then yeah, I mean, you should not be using the image that's got that brand name. But if you took that image, maybe the guy's wearing the hard hat that says Acme Construction. That came from the Acme Construction guys, and you borrow it for your website for a plumber. Then what are you going to do? You're going to Photoshop off the Acme Construction and put on the Acme Plumbing, or whatever the name of the company, ABC Plumbing. All of a sudden, it's a different image in Google's eyes, and these guys no longer have a claim. Okay? Why? Because they didn't have a copyright on the image. What do you think they have? A patent or a trademark on the name Acme Construction. If they say, hey, we do have a copyright on that image, you can't do that, say sorry. Go get some other guy's image to do it, okay? So just so you know, most people use images from Google Images because it's the most common thing to do. We have massive stores of lots of royalty-free images because that's just our business, right? But most people don't have access to it and don't need it. All right, now, if I want to get multiple websites, don't I have to put them on their own unique IPs? No, There was a time, but now even John Mueller, he's out of what, Sweden or Switzerland? I forget. I think Switzerland. Somebody asked him live on a show. He's from Google. He's one of the head honchos of Google who explains Google to everybody. And he flat out said, nope, Google doesn't care at all. And I'll tell you one reason why. There are companies that specialize in doing the marketing for an industry. So they do all the dental websites in the area, right? They drive to every dentist in town. Say, hey, we're your local dental marketers. We can handle everything you need for dental marketing. Want to use us? Yeah, sure. Okay, plug and play into our system. So they have the servers that have all of the websites for all of the dentists on the single servers. Many of them are on the same IP. Why should Google have a problem with that? They're the website specialists doing websites for local dentists, and they're trying to do a good job, streamline their costs, make sure all those guys have their own information for their own dental websites. Why should Google have a problem with that? That's what Google asked a long time ago. Why should we have a problem with that? So they quit caring. They really don't care. If all they care about is that the websites are different user experiences. Okay, what are some examples of extremely cool things that we've learned while making massive websites for our clients? Let me just rattle this off. This is actually a long video, but I think it's cool, right? I hope it's helpful to you. Using an image inside an H1 tag, because then you can use the image all code with tokens, variable words from page to page to page, to make lots of pages that all show the image. So let's say you were trying to have a good excuse to create 1,000 pages on a website for cash loans. You want to say, we're your cash loan company. And what you really want to say, you want to somehow have every main city, like the top 500 cities, you want to have a page for every one of them. South Bend, cash loan company. North Bend, cash loan company. Chicago, cash loan company. Denver, cash loan company. Elkhart, cash loan company. Mishawaka, cash loan company. But you know that when people are doing searches, they're going to see, sometimes different cities, although usually they'll see their own. But let's say you find it just a little funny and you want to say cash loan company, but you don't really want anyone to see the city. Well, that's just it. Put an image inside an H1 tag and use those variables for all those cities in the image all code. Then you can create your 500 pages that use the exact same image. And people will not see that Google sees the city name on that page, even though you didn't use the city name on the page in a visible way. You used it in the image all code. Now you can do more. Some people put in very small print at the bottom something like post ID : then they'll say something like South Bend cash loan, South Bend quick access loan, or whatever it is, South Bend business line of credit, right? All their different keywords for all the different pages. And they'll do it just to help lock in for Google that, yes, they meant that. It's not just an accident that it looked like South Bend, but that is a city that they are using with that keyword. And Google will figure that out, okay? And yet people won't really see it. So just so you know, that's a nifty trick. It's one example of something that's actually kind of gray hat. In other words, it's white hat because it's not black hat, okay? Really wild, all right? Canonical URLs can point to a specific, you could create, here's one thing. If you create 1,000 pages and you try to get them to all be their own canonical link, their own URL, all those 1,000 pages, but they say basically the same thing, Google has to choose one of them if it doesn't see a reason to put the other ones in the index. If it goes, look, you're going to show up all over the same page. Your one website's going to have a bunch of pages that are supposed to all be the result number 3. Because all these pages algorithmically should be result number 3 for many searches. Okay? Google doesn't want to give that to you. So if your canonical URLs all do that, then Google goes, there's only the one page I can give you. But it doesn't like that, so it sort of de-indexes the other pages. It doesn't like the other pages, so you don't find it in the Google index. But if you have those same 1,000 pages and they all use the one canonical URL, they all point at the one, Google goes, wow, all those wording differentials, keyword differentials, location differentials for all those pages really mean show this page. That's cool. That's the way to get one page to show up for tons of different keyword combinations and geo-target combinations without trying to stuff all those keywords and geo combinations into the page. It's actually a really good strategy. Okay, there you go. That's really important. And by the way, you can point canonical URLs in a different website. So could we create 10 websites with 1,000 pages each? And we want all those 10,000 pages just to let Google know all the different things that a page could show up for. And all 10,000 pages point at one single page. Yeah. That way, no matter which combination of keywords somebody would have searched that would have brought up any one of those pages, they're being redirected to one perfect page. Okay? Because Google already said, they typed that, you made the page optimized for that, but you want that to make this page appear for them to see. That's just coding you put in the page. That's coding we have by default in the system so that it can be manipulated like that. That's cool, huh? Google Webmasters. I have people ask, what if my site's been sandboxed? How do I know? All I know is I'm on page 40 now. Or I can't find me on this keyword. Does that mean Google took an action against you? Or does it mean there was just an algorithmic change that caused a reaction? In other words, is there a human action taken against you manually? Or did you just drop in rank because Google did some correction stuff? Okay, like got rid of all those backlinks to a link farm and you drop back down to where you would be if Google didn't count them. Okay, there's a huge difference between the two. If Google takes a manual action against you, that means Google went, hey, you're cheating. We're going to penalize you. And that's a penalize. And we're going to make that last like a month or 3 months or 6 months. Okay. Now, that's if they do that to your site. Okay. But usually that's not what happens. What happens usually is just algorithmic changes cause pages to drop back down to where they would be otherwise. So if you got penalized, you can't really come up out of it. You have to wait, or you have to take stuff away, put new stuff up, and see if Google's kind enough to re-index and re-rank because it's new stuff now. And usually that's fine. That works. Okay? But if you just simply got hit by an algorithmic update and you dropped on a bunch of keywords, it may not even matter. You may have dropped on a bunch, risen on a bunch of other ones. So now you get getting traffic on a bunch of other keywords that before you couldn't get, but now you're getting because of the algorithmic change. It just sort of tips the seesaw very often. And so you wind up not even realizing it happened. All you know is you got fewer visitors during the weeks. That's about it. Okay? So, but there is a place in Google Webmasters where you can check whether there was a manual action taken against you. So if you check it and you see yes, you know you have to rip your pages down and put up new pages, or you have to do something proper. You have to disavow the bad backlinks. But if not, then you know it's just an algorithmic change, so just create more content that deals with whatever Google says they're doing next. You know, which in our case is simple. It's push button easy to create a bunch of pages, thousands of pages in a minute, once you figure out what you want to do, which could take 15 minutes. Very simple. Okay, and that, by the way, is pretty rare that we get hit with anything like that. All it means is a seesaw effect, usually for us. All right. It is possible for us to let everyone who buys a website from us wind up with totally different cool pages of content that's unique already on launch. So if we have a plumber website, you look it over and you think, I want that one, but I'm probably not the first one to buy it. I'm going to buy it anyway, but don't I have to rewrite through it? The answer is you don't have to rewrite through it. You can buy it, open it, hit a single button to say generate 500 pages for me, and it can make them unique. And you'll get a question that says, do you want to overwrite the main pages with one of these rows? And you can say yes, and it'll do it. That's cool. That means uniqueness every single time. That means everybody winds up with a unique front page, and even those 500 pages they generate are not the same from site to site. Totally unique content. Okay? So that's cool. It means you don't have to create new content. All right. We know it's better to cast the net wide than to try winning certain short tails. I've been talking about this, right? better to focus 100% on casting your net wide. So that's because you're going to get buying traffic. Don't go after a short tail keyword that you have to fight every day to try to keep up because your competition's fighting for it too. And you have all these guys all trying against you, all of them every day to get above you. Why fight for that? 97% of the people who come won't even buy because they were not going to buy. They land on your page and think, oh, that's not what I meant. And off they go. Right? Go after the longer tails. 97% of those people do buy. So even though it's only like 3% of the traffic, they all buy. You didn't mess with the other ones that were holding down your website rank. It's not like if you get more traffic, it means you rank higher. If you get more traffic that bounces away, you're going to rank lower. Okay? Better to go after the longer tails and have longer time on page. Most traffic comes through the longer tail, by the way. We used to do studies like this with people. They would say, well, all my traffic comes through this one keyword, right? Atlanta divorce attorney. Really? You think all your traffic comes through there? Yeah, because when I look on Google, it's the most trafficked keyword. So does that mean the most buyers to you or something? Does that even mean most of the people land on your site came through that keyword? Yeah, I was number one for that keyword and I'm getting traffic, so that must be happening. The answer is not necessarily. And we'll put visitor tracking on their pages, especially the ones they think, hey, that one's ranking on the front page, let's see. Guess what we found out? That one keyword, that Atlanta divorce attorney keyword, may have gotten them 2% of all their clicks, or 4%. By itself, maybe that meant 50 people came through it, in the last week, say. But then another like 30 people came through a version, 20 people came through another version, 10 people came through another version, 4 people came through another version. Then it's a whole lot of 3s, followed by lots more 2s, then lots more 1s. There are more unique hits that get someone on your website than there are short tail keyword hits that get someone on your website. And that is true for everyone. We've never seen anyone where most of the visitors to their website came through a short tail. Most traffic comes through longer tail. You know what that means? Cast the net wide. Create lots of pages for all the long tail combinations. And we do that automatically. We do it very well, and we do it with the best rank ready page generations. Another one, the more variability you add through a project, the greater percentage of the total pages that index and can rank. So if Roto-Rooter only tried changing a few things on all their pages, like just the name of the city, and the state, the phone number, the name of the guy to contact, and that was it, Roto-Rooter would not have 11,000 pages indexed. They'd have like 200 pages indexed. If they went very well and they create a few more variations, okay, they'll go from a few hundred pages indexed to maybe 1,000 pages indexed. If they create some more variability through the whole project, all of a sudden they're up to like 5,000 pages indexed. A little more variability, 11,000 pages indexed. What's the point? The more variability you build into a project, the greater total percentage of pages that index and can rank. Really worth your time, because for the hour you spend, if you were doing it yourself, just creating the variability on your own, which you wouldn't do through us usually because we're doing it for you. Okay, we create max variability for you. But if you wanted to create it on your own, for your own project, and you were doing it, all I'm saying is make sure to create more variables. Don't just stick with the city name. Don't just try to change the city name and have 30,000 pages. Okay. Finally, winning the short tail keywords by first winning the long tail keywords is easy and it's awesome. By doing that, you get paid more, you rank higher, Google sees your time on site better, far more competitive. Okay, the best tool we have today, I'm done with all that. I'm just going to remind you, in case you didn't know from our other videos, the tool that you want for building a website, because it's set to rank you the highest with the least effort, website-installer.com. Come here, choose your category, get this one, Legacy UAP. We'll explain it later, but it means this. whatever it is you have right now on a website that you are trying to sell, okay, this lets you make a separate website, a marketing website with tons of pages that are going to rank for the keywords that you look up on Google. You get the list of 500 keywords, plug them into this thing on Excel, upload it and hit go, and it creates all the pages that are going to impress people enough to want to click through to your website to buy your stuff, right? To check out your stuff and possibly buy, right? But because the legacy UAP allows you to show up for all those long tails on your marketing website, then you don't even have to worry about SEO on your website. You don't have to try to rank your website. You don't need to compromise the human message with the SEO message. Just let the marketing website be the SEO optimized website that leads people to your perfect pitch. And you can say things like lock, stock, and barrel on the page without confusing Google. Who cares? You don't need to try to rank. So you can leave the wording in there. The whole 9 yards. You can leave the wording in there because you can leave it a human message. Because the marketing website's going to do the job of getting traffic to your human message. That's this legacy UAP. That's what you want to get. The instructions come with it. The videos come with it. You'll understand what you're doing with it. You can create thousands of pages for anything you want to sell in 15 minutes that are going to show up for their own keyword combinations and help drive traffic over to wherever it is you want them to go. That's the purpose, and it's the easiest thing we have for you to do, and it is built to rank higher than most websites out there by any of the other CMS providers. Just the way it's built. All right, hope you found that interesting. We'll talk more soon, and there you go. Hope this gave you a lot more insight in general about websites and things to consider. Okay.